Welcome, welcome. So exciting to see people coming in. I see Greta, David's here, Nathaniel. Hi, Lucas. Angel. Hey, Angel. Oh, how fun. Sandra and Steve. Hey, guys, if you could put in the chat where you're coming from, that would be great. We can communicate via chat this whole Zoom call. And is it Nick? Nick Niche? How am I want to make sure I'm saying Sheffield? How do you say your first name? Is it Nick? Oh, great. Okay. Hi, Nick. Welcome. And Julie, we are so happy to be together on this very, very exciting call. My name is Jenny Fitzgerald. Hi, Julie. And I am so honored to be part of Team Backlund Igniting Hope. And I have had the incredible honor of serving Igniting Hope through Backlund Leadership Academy. Their very first year of doing this, it has been astounding to watch the growth that people have had, like transformation on steroids, really. Am I allowed to say that? We're not really taking steroids. It's Holy Spirit steroids. And we are just honored and thrilled that you are taking time to hear more about the Backlund Leadership Academy. Before I introduce you to Steve, I just want to share a little bit about, hey, Tisa, is it Tisa? Tissa. I always forget how to say your name.
Lisa, like Lisa with a
Tisa.
T.
Yes, so good to see your radiant face.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Um, my husband and I volunteer and we kind of run with one of the groups who is going through Backlund Leadership Academy. And my initial thought was, I love serving people. Yes. And Claire is in our group. And I thought, what a privilege to serve people and support them as we're going. But honestly, the transformation that's happened in me has been astronomical. I'm a beliefs coach and I was on with a client this morning and she was talking about imagining best case scenarios, good things happening, best case scenarios. Welcome, Alan. And I am somebody who used to, by default, imagine worst case scenarios. And this is something I went after intentionally for about a year. But as I was speaking with this woman this morning, I realized, oh my gosh, I have not been living from the worst case scenario perspective in 2 years. Like that, my default, you guys, my default is best case scenario. And it's not like Steve Backlund has sat me down and said, Jenny, I want you to, imagine best case scenario. What happens under Steve's leadership is your your mind is renewed. You step into this lifestyle of mind renewal, and every part of your life is transformed. And it's like the Holy Spirit. It's this wind. You don't know where it's coming or how it's coming, but we're being transformed. And Steve is one of the most humble, most influential leaders I have ever had the honor of knowing. Not only my life has been transformed, my husband's life has been radically transformed, our marriage, our kids, everything about our world. And he launches people like, I mean, I just, like those machines that throw out the softballs that you're going to hit. That's how Steve launches. He's so intentional. He sees the greatness in people and he calls it out, and you'll never be the same. So it is with great honor that I introduce Steve Backlund to this wonderful group of people here. Take it away, Steve.
Well, Jenny, that's quite the intro. I receive it. Thank you so much. And we're just glad to be able to share with you about the Backlund Leadership Academy. And we're going to be starting up again year 2, our second year in September. And we have just had such a good first year. Before I get into it, we have Connie Jones, who's a big part. She's the Associate Director of Igniting Hope Ministries, and she is a big part of what we are doing. Connie, where were you this last week?
I spent the week at a John Maxwell conference. It's fantastic.
And you are a John Maxwell certified.
Speaker, leader, developer, and coach.
Wow. Wow. That's do you have that on your business card?
I should.
You should. So you bring such a big part. And then we have Melinda Lahai, who's our operations director and just really just a key person in what we're doing, the establishment of this. She's a key interviewer of people who apply. Uh, Melinda, why don't you say hi?
Hi, everyone. So excited to be here with you. Steve, just like Jenny, Steve has changed my life. So I just like Connie, I decided to stick around and work for him. It's just truly an honor to be here with all of you. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, and you're going to be maybe putting some things in the chat, other things, and then uh, if there's logistical questions, you will definitely help in that. Then we have Rob Weir, who's with us as well. He's our technological guru and behind the scenes. And then Emily from our team as well, who's one of our leaders that we have. We have three groups. We'll explain this a little bit more in detail later, but we have three groups that meet weekly, and then we have leaders from our team, Rob, Jenny, and Emily. And I don't think there's anybody else that I see who's a part of that leaders who help facilitate those weekly meetings with me. So I'll just give you what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give you the background of the academy, some of the key components of it. We will definitely want to leave some time for Q&A that you may have. Yes, note to self, don't eat an almond before the Zoom meeting.
Okay, well, you're taking a drink of water. I'll just let our audience know we're actually streaming to Facebook and YouTube as well. And so just want to welcome our Facebook and YouTube audience. Okay, Steve, we'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, for jumping in there. So I've had a passion for leadership for a long time. I was a Christian school principal for a number of years. In the 80s and 90s, I pastored a church near Las Vegas, Nevada. 2001, 2008, senior leader of Weaverville Mountain Chapel in Weaverville, California. Came to Bethel in 2008 and developed with Paul Manwaring for leaders around the world the Leader Development Program called LDP. We'd have over about 10,000 people who did that online, just really taking the cultures of Bethel and just 12 cultures and practical ways for leaders around the world to get them in their own lives and what they're leading in. And I've had for 15 years while I'm still at Bethel, and for the first 15 years, I had third year students that were like interns. About 160 people go through under my leadership with Connie and other leaders as well. And just became something in my heart because I just saw what the Lord did when they spent 9 months with me, with us, within the culture, and many of them have become were either are or were key leaders at Bethel or leaders around the world, and I wrote leadership books. Help I'm a Pastor, which is a fun book that has a picture of a pastor hiding behind a pulpit, and that is a book on leadership. And then I wrote the book, The Culture of Empowerment: How to Champion People. And it takes Bill Johnson's quote here from Bethel Church. My goal is not to build a big church, but to build big people. And just takes that concept and how to create empowerment in our leadership and how to be a leader who not only accomplishes vision and goals, but more importantly, builds people that get into their environment, get into our environment. And then we also made a business and organizational version of that book. I wrote it with my brother, Dr. Phil Backlund, who's also a part of the Academy. And so just the vision began, okay, how can I take the concepts of what we've been doing here at Bethel and how could we export that into an online format? And so it was not this school year, but last school year that I was beginning to feel, all right, there's a shift happening in my life. And I've had this vision for a long time and just felt like the grace was lifting on being able to, or to have third year students from the Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry who are interns. And so we felt the Lord say, this is the year. This is the year. And we just in identifying, all right, what is unique and what is different about how we do leadership, how I do leadership. And I think some of the big differences that or the passions that I have is, first of all, the passion about beliefs and hope. Our ministry is called Igniting Hope. And a perspective of hope, a perspective of joy is the fruit of good beliefs. And I've created this kind of the tagline for the Backlund Leadership Academy is great leaders have great beliefs, great priorities, and great habits. And it needs to be in that order: great beliefs, great priorities, and great habits. And the most important person we lead is ourselves. And so the focus on beliefs, the focus on the power of our words. James 3:2 says that if you can bridle your tongue, you can bridle your whole body. Basically, it's saying if you can control what's coming out of your mouth, you can control your life. And so an important part of the academy is that piece in helping us, because words reflect our beliefs. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so I like to say this: the future is in the mouths of intentional speakers. So there's a uniqueness with that. There's a uniqueness with the culture of empowerment and how we empower our students that, again, I'll talk about more. So, and it was in the last year or two that I've really been able to boil down my leadership philosophy and culture into what I call 8 pillars of leadership. And these 8 pillars are the foundation for the academy. And the pillars are inspiring and leading yourself, transformational beliefs, intentionality, healthy relationships, speaking life, faith-filled decision-making, the culture of gladness, and empowerment, building big people. And so the academy is really, those pillars become the foundation of what we teach in the academy. And I see it like climbing a mountain, but you're not climbing straight up. You're doing a circular path up the mountain. And each of these pillars is like a a groove in the mountain that you pass over again and again and again in as you go higher. So the structure of it is that we have 40 students this year. So we're not looking for a mass amount of people. We're looking for quality experiences for people who participate. And so each group, we have 3 groups, and they either have 13 people in them or 14 people. And so we're thinking 13 to 15 people within each group. That group meets at a select time for 90 minutes every week. And then every other week has an hour connection meeting as well. And in that group, so I'm there most of the time. Connie is there most of the time is when I'm not. And we have other people like my brother, Dr. Phil, who also would help facilitate that. And then this year we have 3 volunteers or of our team or staff members who assist me in that group. So each group is divided up into 4 or 5 students per leader. And so then those leaders have a greater connection and help facilitate and help those in the group. And during each week, there's audio content. Like the first 8 weeks, we go over the 8 pillars, 1 per week with audio messages. There's notes that are given. And so then in the meeting, you have a week's worth of content to study and review. And then in the next week's 90-minute meeting, each student gets the opportunity to share, like for 2 or 3 minutes, what has impacted them through that content. So and then we have activations of students who are opening with 2-minute openings or releasing 1-minute testimonies, prophetic words. And it's not just an opportunity to sit back and hear and be a spectator. It's highly activated. And that's one of the fun parts of it, where students get to grow in their ability to communicate, prophesy, share, and then during that 90-minute meeting, we pretty much every time there's opportunities for questions and answers. So the mentoring that happens not only through the audio or video content, but also through the Q&A and the discussions. And then there's really just such a powerful impact that happens relationally through one another. The groups of 13 and 14 definitely bond. They get to cheer each other on. So, and then one of the biggest parts of the academy is the Dream Project. And we want to partner because we want to help people learn how to increase their talents. Matthew 25, the parable of the talents. You have Jesus, the master giving 5, 2, and 1 talents, and the 5 and 2 people increase their talents. And so every student has the opportunity and privilege of determining a dream project that they will be working on during the year of being in the academy. And it can be anything from writing a book, online course, starting a business, starting a regular blog, or something else. And that's really because what we want to do at whatever level that our students have in releasing giving God something to work with, we want to help facilitate that and get at least one thing out of every student that by the end of the year can be accessed by others in order to just to be strengthened, blessed, etc. So that's an important part of it, exciting part of it, stretching part of it, people. And we love giving feedback. It's an academy where we create a culture of exciting feedback. People who share their 2-minute opening. Man, we'll get excited. We're gonna we help train people on how to communicate, what to do in that. But then we say, wow, this was so good. This, and here's an idea of how to take it higher. So there's communication, and it really goes back to the power of our words, the language we use, the culture of empowerment, who we believe we're talking to is going to determine the level of empowerment in our words. We're going after how to speak in such a way that increases the likelihood of people being empowered and being able to do what we're actually speaking about. Melinda, anything else on the actual structure of it that you think would be important?
No, you did a fantastic job, Steve. Well done.
Connie, anything you want to add?
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I'm so excited just to see all of you guys on here. The thing that I will add is there's something about running with a community of like-minded people who you're just done with the status quo. And it's like, I know I am meant to be a leader. I know that there's greatness in me. I know my life is to bring significance to someone else and to other people. And so when you get in an environment of people who are just going after growing and developing who they are, first of all, who you are, and then your leadership gifts, it changes everything. It's like Jenny is saying, it doesn't just change you, it changes your family, changes your dogs. I mean, there isn't anything in your life that doesn't shift when you just decide, I'm just going to be who God has called me to be. And then when you come along, when you intentionally go after growing, something happens with the grace of God on your life to all of a sudden what was difficult or maybe is not only now a possibility, then a probability, and then it's impossible to stop it from happening. And one of the things that I love about a community of like-minded people is you live in the pressure of your own potential. When you're where you are, when you're staying where you are, there's not a lot of pull on what's next and what's in you. But when you come alongside a growth-minded group of people and they're developing you and growing you, all of a sudden you've got this pressure for the potential and the call that is on your life. And it's like, you guys all know growth doesn't happen accidentally. You're not going to drift up to the top of the hill and wonder how you got there. You're going to work and move, but there's something amazing when you're doing it in a group of people. And I love Steve's pillars. There's something so beautiful about the way he goes after strategically dealing with your mindset, how you think about the gifts and the calls and the development on your life. And then the practicality of actually taking something that you're learning and you can implement it immediately and see immediate results in your life, in your family. If you're leading teams already, whether it's at work or whether you're leading from the middle or you're leading from the top, transformation it's just powerful. So yeah, it's exciting. We're in love with this. We've been doing this day in and day out. And so to see the effects and the spread of these leadership principles, the world they're looking for you. And this could be one of the ways that just launches you further in the direction that God has got for you. So thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you, Connie. And I know it's really when Jesus picked his 12 in Mark 3, I love what it says in the beginning, that they might be with him. Because more is caught than taught. And I know in my own journey of what the Lord has done in me. He's radically changed my life. He's radically changed Wendy's life. By the way, Wendy's also, yeah, those in the academy will get some of Wendy. And if you know anything about her, you know that's a good thing. And I, in just even sharing what's happened in our life. I mean, I just finished my 20th book. I've traveled the world. We've got online courses. We have done what we never ever thought we could do. And just to share the systems and structures that we've set in our lives, and how to do that, and the intentionality piece, and how to have an investment mindset and not a debt mindset, and just imparting those things. And I do believe in that if someone spends 9 months with me, they'll never be the same again. It's just I've seen that, and I know that the academy is maybe not for everybody on it at this season, but for some of you, I believe it definitely is. And we just as a team are we're just committed to helping. We love partnering with God's dreams and purposes and plans for people. And so the more that we get around people, and even in the online format, there's just a lot of opportunity to speak into each student's life, to identify what we see on them, to help just move forward in key areas of life and leadership. And it is a leadership academy. And again, like Connie said, whether you're right now you're leading a church, you're leading a business, or you're in the developmental stage of leadership for future assignments. We're all leading somebody. The first person we're leading is ourselves. So that's and then in our family. Anything anybody, Jenny or Emily, you want to say about the academy, or anything to add?
Steve, I think there's several scriptures that talk about things like nothing is impossible with God. And as a believer, I spent so much of my life having a mental idea of what that was, but didn't know what were the things that were keeping me from living that scripture as everything that I was. And I think one of the things, the 9 months with you or being around you and this message, it has brought me to a place where I can truly say, wow, I can't come up with a reason why that would be impossible, because I now know who I am. I know who he is, and I know what he's put in me. And if something in front of me is trying to tell me it's impossible, it didn't come from God.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
I would add too that you don't become an eagle when you hang out with Steve. You become aware that you already are an eagle, and we can step into environments where we see all these eagles and start seeing ourselves as smaller. But what happens in this environment is you're called out for the eagle that you always have been, and it's really powerful.
Wow, Jenny, I'm going to steal that. I hadn't heard you say that. Can you say that again, please?
I said, sometimes you step into an environment with eagles and you think, I wish I could be that eagle. But in this environment, you're not becoming an eagle. You're becoming aware of the eagle that you always have been.
Wow. Wow. That's good. Hey, Rob, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I've had the privilege on being on both sides. I got to be a third year with Steve and go through this sort of in person, and I've got to be here this last year online, and both are incredible. Both are so powerful. And what always strikes me, and I went through this journey myself, is how much transformation you don't realize you are having until you catch yourself doing things, saying things, implementing things, and even being on the sort of leader end and progressing with some students and just seeing how much transformation happens when people are implementing some of these things in their workplaces, in their lives, in their families. And it blows me away every single time. You can't help but get around Steve and be transformed and get around people who are going after a goal and actually them just rubbing off on you in such a powerful way. And it is, when we say it's life transforming, it's transformed my life, it's transformed my wife's life. I get to read weekly reports of people's lives transformed every single week. And it's crazy. It's incredible.
Rob, I've been preaching this, Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I've been preaching it so long, I'm actually believing it. It's impossible not to be transformed when we renew our minds. And I love that. Well, anything else, Melinda? We'll kind of open it up for questions. I know, Jenny, you guys are helping to facilitate this, but if somebody has a question, you can either put it in a chat or raise your virtual hand or wave, because we definitely want to answer anything that you may want to know.
Tissa.
I just wanted to thank you. I took your last course, the accelerated one, and I felt that it was preparation and an anticipation for the Leadership Academy in the fall. I had a really, really good day the other day, and I was so happy. And then this darkness came over me, and I remembered your steps of being my own coach and celebrating my wins for the day. And so it works. So I'm coming back for more. So I thank you so much.
You're welcome, Tisa. Good to have you here.
Echo?
Yeah. Hey, hi, Steve. Thank you so much. I want to have a question regarding what does it look like as the Leadership Academy students? What's the kind of synergy that I know, like they are leading in different way, like in business or in church, but as a Leadership Academy, what's the kind of a synergy that creates that to equip them in a way, or what kind of like exposure they can have? I mean, maybe minister with your Ignite Hope team. Is there, like, besides their own things they are doing in their life, in the leadership role, is there anything that Ignite Hope team also create some opportunities for them to let them, step into the calling or potential they have? Thank you.
Yes. It's good to see you, Echo. Well, we have used our BLA students in prophetic ministries in various situations, which has been fun. Those who are here in Reading or who visit Reading, we've definitely found opportunities to use them. Anything else you want to say, Melinda, on that? Because I know you've been kind of helping facilitate that.
Yes, there are many activation opportunities, and so we do activate people all the time. It's a huge part of the academy. And by the way, we're also, just because of the experience our students have had this year, we're creating a second year, and so we're actually going to have, this is going to be a 2-year program, and so we're really excited about that. I just wanted to mention that as well. And second year will be even more activation focused. And so, but there's definitely opportunities. And another thing I wanted to mention, just a great opportunity for community. You get to know the people in your group so well, and you just come around like-minded people that are growing and being transformed. So just another great aspect of the academy.
Good. Nick?
Hi. Yeah, I kind of don't know how to ask it, but I guess, and I feel really emotional talking about it, but I feel like I've got a really significant marketplace calling, and I feel like I've really struggled to fit into church structures. And I think, like, I've read a lot of your material, Steve, and I can like it fits. Like, for example, I do joy courses and use the material from the Hope books, like to do declarations with people who are like in alcohol recovery. Just as an example, like I've taken, and it feels like a whole Jehovah sneaky thing, like teaching people the word of God in those environments. And that's what I'm like really passionate about. And I think, but yeah, I think I just kind of need some affirmation that it like would be a safe place to pursue a marketplace calling when like me and my husband tried to go into church leadership and that didn't really work. If you kind of
Yeah.
get what I'm asking,
Yeah.
reading
Well,
between the lines.
yeah, we definitely, the students that we have, I would say a greater percentage are in the marketplace this year than are in a vocational ministry calling. So the principles that we teach, because our hope level determines our influence level, and he who has the most hope is the most influence. So the principles that we teach and the beliefs that we teach increase our hope, which increases our influence, whether it's the marketplace, whether it's the church, or with whoever. So yeah, and even if there's been some negative experiences, we want to help redeem those experiences and help just bring the belief systems for the next season and not allow the experience to create our belief systems. And yeah, so the answer in short is yes, we love helping those in the marketplace.
Thank you.
We have some questions in the chat. The first one is, when partnering with God and empowering people to go after their dreams and callings, what have you found to be most effective in that good work?
What I found is, first of all, being committed as a leader to understand that one of my goal is not to build a big organization, but to build big people. So being committed to that priority as a leader, that I actually know that's what I'm called to do. I'm not just called to reach a goal or reach a vision, which is important. I'm called to impact the people who are around me and raise them up. David had 400 people gathered to him in the Old Testament, everybody in distress, debt, and discontent. And they became mighty men. And so, first of all, you commit yourself. All right, I am a builder of big people. I am an equiper of the saints for the work of the ministry. And then you realize that as a leader, one of the greatest skills that a leader can have or an influencer can have is to believe in the people they influence and lead. So as a leader, I'm constantly working on my beliefs. I use that language. I work on my beliefs more than anything else that I work on as a leader. Because if I try to do great things with bad beliefs, it's a problem. When I was in my first pastorate, I had good people, but I was complaining to the Lord about my people, saying if I had better people, I could really do something. And the Lord said, Steve, I want to let you know you're your people's biggest problem. Well, thank you, Lord, for saying that. You are the problem, because they got enough issues, let alone having a leader who doesn't believe in them. So then we believe in them. We see them. We constantly tell them who they are. And even in correction and in things that we may need to bring our feedback, we do it from a different model. We do it from where you're going. You can't take that with you. You're going somewhere. And then creating opportunities for people to, okay, giving people opportunities to minister in small ways and watching what the Lord does. So those are some key things that I've learned to do to help partner with people's dreams and then study people, ask people great questions, and help them identify unique giftings and unique abilities that they have, and then help create opportunities around them in order for them to begin to grow in that gift.
Thank you. How different is this content from TMRC?
TMRC, which is our transformational mind renewal course, it's a 5-month course on the 5 steps of radical mind renewal. Certainly there's some overlap and repeat, and I make no apologies for that. I repeat things over and over and over again intentionally. I preach the same message all the time, and every time I preach it, I say, "Thank you, Steve. I needed that." I get excited again. I was slipping off again and getting my beliefs from my feelings and my past. I was slipping off again and withdrawing my heart from people who disappointed me. I was moving back into a victim mindset. Thank you, Steve. I needed that. So there is definitely repetition, but there is much greater content and much more recent revelations that are in the academy.
Thank you. We had one question. I'm a podcast listener. How much time would I need to plan on designating weekly to the coursework aside from the weekly calls you mentioned, basically overall time commitment with Melinda responded to that. And then somebody else asked if some of the current BLA students could share, or BLA participants could share about their projects and how that fits into their time commitments. So however you want to handle that, Steve.
Well, who do we have on here? We have Claire.
There.
Claire, you want to comment on how the BLA, how the Dream Project fits?
Yeah, your part of it is there's this, I don't really want to use the word pressure, but there is that emphasis on getting it done, and you're supported around getting it done. So, you're not just like, okay, I'm going to write a book, and the fear of the empty page happens. We're taught about AI and how to use some of that and just creative ways to do it. In fact, just today, if you were writing a book, we just had a how to publish on Amazon, so you're very supported. My project personally, I'm doing a video course, and because it started off as a book, but the Lord was like, you're best talking into a screen. And so I said, oh yeah, I'm trying to invent the car before I invented the wheel. So I backtracked and said, okay, I'm going to do a course first on identity restored, and then I'm going to write the book out of that. And now it's flowing because I'm not trying to fight it. I'm not trying to create a car. I'm trying to create the tire that moves the car, if that makes sense.
That'll preach right there. And so 6 to 8 hours a week is what we estimate. And certainly some of the projects, some people put more time in because they have the ability to do that on their projects or re-listening to material.
Thank you, Steve. And Claire, if my aim is to grow as a person first and not specifically become a leader, is it then better that I take one of your other courses, or will this course be good for self-growth alone without specific ministry outreach goals?
The course is not just for people who are leading something right now, even though that may be ideal. It's also because you'll be able to apply it in a situation, but it's also for people who want to become a greater leader. And so the answer to that is yes, the course will be beneficial to people who may not be leading right now, but who want to grow in that. And certainly the interview process, we interview people, and it's in that interview where those discussions can really be worked out on, okay, whether this is really a good fit.
Yeah, and I'll add too, when I started volunteering with this, I really was not in a leadership position. And now I'm in 2 leadership positions. And I know that this course, I renewed my mind to believe that I am a leader. So I'll share that. A question from Echo for the Dream Project. Is it more like a self-motivated and self-driven project, or are there mentors that can coach us? For example, writing a book, launching a podcast. And Claire touched a little bit about that, but you can share what
we create a lot of support and a lot of help through what we call topical Zooms, where there's, like what Claire mentioned, one of our team members, Angela Parker, who's on here as well. She did a Zoom recording on how to upload a book to Amazon. Rob Weir did on how to use AI to help you. So we have that support. We also have support of what do we call them, Melinda? The smaller group discussion, those who want to participate.
Yes, we have momentum groups. So you're going to be working on your project. Everything's done in community. And so, of course, you're going to be working independently on your project, but we also have student-led groups where you come alongside each other to motivate each other, give each other support, and also put in, like Steve was talking about, those systems and practical steps to reach your goal. Connie, I don't know if you want to add anything to that as well, but there's a lot of support. And then in addition to, and by the way, all these Zoom calls are recorded. So we designed the Academy for working and busy adults. So whatever you're doing, we did design it in a way that you can watch all of these at your convenience. And so that's just a piece I wanted to mention. And Connie, I don't know if you have anything to share about momentum groups as well.
Yeah, thank you. I love the momentum groups because, anybody who did any kind of research on goal setting and all those things, there's something so powerful about writing it down. They say people who write their goals down already have a 90% chance, a likelihood of that will get done, much more if you are in some kind of an accountability group. So we call them momentum groups, not accountability, because that just feels like you're in trouble. Whereas momentum groups is where you're saying, this is what I'm working on. And you actually get help and feedback to how do you realistically move forward in the goal that you have set. And is it a realistic goal? Or, are you playing too small and need to play a little bit bigger? And so just you meet with a small group of people, they know what you're building. And then if you find that you're hitting a wall and you need a little help, it's just powerful. And when we implemented the momentum groups, some people who are really struggling, man, they just got what they needed to move forward. And so it's very, very powerful.
Jenny, any other questions in the chat?
I don't see. Did I miss any? Oh, here, one just came in. Have people from places other than USA been able to participate fully in the context of timings?
Yes. We have 2 Australians. We have one in the UK, one in Germany. And yep. Can't think of any others, but yes.
Okay. Then David's asking, I'm curious about the signs and symptoms a person might be experiencing if they are living with the kinds of mindsets this experience is designed to transform. For example, there was that phrase earlier, living with the pressure of your calling, that resonated.
Well, I would say some of the signs would be a lack of hope, or let me put it this way, a lack of glistening hope. Signs would be a frustration with people that we're trying to influence, frustration with ourselves. Signs would be allowing procrastination, passivity, and perfectionism to be an ongoing issue to block dreams from being accomplished. I would say some signs would be just not really liking ourselves. I don't know, Connie, you got the other signs you want to?
I would say other people not liking you. I love the question. I think that's a fantastic question because realistically, every single person that is on here right now, every one of us can say that there's something that has been in my heart that I've put off. And it's either from lack of belief in myself or, I just think I don't have the schooling, I don't have this, whatever it is, but yet it hasn't gone away. It's been, 5-10 years and there that thing is. And so a lot of times that's just it. It's that thing that keeps saying there's more in me. I want to pursue more. And I'm tired of, I'm tired of sabotaging myself. One of the things that Steve really talks about a lot is how we sabotage ourselves because we're not going to go after and pursue something that we don't believe we're worth or that we don't believe we can do. And so even if doors or favor comes after us, we'll sabotage ourselves back down to our belief system. And so our beliefs are the thing that actually cap where we are and stop the potential. And so if you find that, man, I know I'm meant for more, why do I keep tripping up in this and why do I keep delaying? That's just an excellent symptom. And I like that Steve talks about that. It's like the check engine light on the car. It's just saying, pay attention. There's something here that keeps stopping you. And we just pull over and get it fixed or take it to a mechanic. Steve's the master mechanic of the beliefs. So he's a master mechanic for beliefs and for leadership development, personal development, and really to take one of the things that I do love so much is every one of us. I imagine that each one of you could, if I were to go around the room and ask you if there's a project, a book, or launching a ministry, a podcast, whatever it is, there's something that's in you that you want to do to add value to somebody else. And a lot of times it's the big thing. And Steve teaches us how to actually take these big, huge things that seem so insurmountable and break it down into small little steps. That's how he's been able to write 20 books without losing his marriage and his house going into disrepair. It's just amazing how you can find that you can do a lot in such a short amount of time when our mindset just becomes, it's like you change your mindset to the dial of hope and you just start gaining momentum so quickly. Great question.
Beautiful, Connie. Lucas, I don't know if you meant for me to ask this, but I'm going to ask it. Is there a course to lead that will break off my rebellion of leadership?
Can you rephrase that so I understand it?
Yeah, is there a course that I could take that would break off the limiting beliefs around my view of leadership? Doesn't sound like he has maybe a positive perspective of leadership, and he doesn't necessarily want to become a leader. Lucas, am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a course? Well, I mean, this course that we're talking about will help with that. And I mean, just because we've all had negative experiences with leadership, because there's no perfect leader. But God's answer is always a leader. We cry out, God, do something. And his answer is always to give an assignment to somebody that usually they don't feel qualified to do. And so, yeah, I mean, even the reasons why you put, Lucas, thanks for just sharing a little more, just a little bit of disloyalty of leadership on my part, pride, maybe fear, who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's one of the people in the Bible that really stands out to me. Obviously, David, God says he's the man after my own heart. And I mean, the Lord said that about him, even though he committed adultery and murder. There's something about David that was phenomenal. There's a lot of things phenomenal, but one of the things that I note was David's attitude towards Saul, his leader, who was demon possessed, and how he related to him, and how he, even though Saul was trying to kill him, David would not touch him, would not touch the Lord's anointed. And I'm not saying we stay in abusive situations, but there's something about how we respond to the perceived imperfections of leaders over us is one of the indicators of how ready we are to lead ourselves. And so it is in leadership, it is in loyalty, covenant relationships where we learn, and it's not always going to be, how should I say it, without challenges. It's in the relationships, and it's a big part of what we do in the academy is help us in our relationships, help us deal with challenging people, conflict resolution. There's teachings in the culture of empowerment. We go through that book, and my brother Phil and I, we have videos on that really connect us to how we do relationships. Because whether it's relationships with leaders over us, peers, or people we're leading, successful people learn how to do relationships with different kinds of people, and how to be in control of ourselves, and how to be powerful, and how to serve, and how to understand. So I love what you're talking about, Lucas, because it is, I didn't really, I was a number two guy in a church situation for 10 years. And the Lord broke a lot of rebellion off me, a lot of pride, a lot of frustration. And it was not always easy, but I look back on it and I say, thank you, Father. Thank you for those experiences.
Thanks, Steve. Hannah's asking, for the project, is it okay for her to use her business goal as the project?
Yeah, I would assume. Yeah, the project, we say a project is complete when that particular project benefits other people and they can access something from us. And so certainly just hearing without more detail, I would say yes. And then we can definitely those who are students will do a back and forth and just confirm that it's good.
Great. It's 1:58. Did I miss any other questions? Linda, are you seeing any other questions that I missed? I don't think so.
No other questions, but these are fantastic questions, everyone. I think
Linda,
yeah.
why don't you just take the last couple minutes if people are wanting to take the next step? What is that?
Absolutely. So next step would be go ahead and put in an application, and then you'll be contacted by myself. And the interviews are probably my favorite part of the academy because I get to know you as a student. We can talk through your dream project. I can answer any of your questions that you might have, and then we can go over just any other questions or details you need answered. And so I went ahead and put that in the chat, but I'll put the link in the chat again, and you can always go to ignitinghopeacademy.com. And then we also have our customer service email, info@ignitinghope. You can email us there, and we actually check our customer service email. And there's a very nice person who will respond to you, and we'll get back to you with any questions that you might have. And so we're just happy to meet with you. Or if you feel like even you're not ready to take that step and apply, but you'd love to connect with me, you can email our customer service email, and I'd be happy to just have a conversation with you and just see if the academy is a fit for you. Like Steve said, it might be your season to do this. It might not be your season, and we definitely want it to be a win-win for you coming in and feeling like this is what you're meant to do, and we want to partner with you in that. And so that's my favorite part, is just hearing what the dreams that are on your heart, that the Lord's put on your heart, and how can I partner with you in that. And so that's what I am here for. So feel free to reach out, and let us know if you have any questions. And thank you again. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you to our incredible leaders. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join today. We are just so honored and excited for what God's doing in you. So any questions, feel free to reach out. And if not, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But thanks again, everyone. Steve, did you have any last closing remarks?
No, we're just praying with you. If you're to be a part, that you will have confirmation and that you will, yeah, the Lord, He's so good. You just say, God, if you want me to be a part of it, let me know, and He will let you know. And for some of you, even the financial piece, you may say, I don't know if I can afford that. But if the Lord wants you to be a part of it, He is a great provider. He is really
Amen.
good.
He is. Amen. All right, everyone. Well, praying you have an amazing day, and we will see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.